This really isn't the time for a rock concert. This really isn't the time, perhaps, for orchestra. Of God look like? What does ideal music at a church service or a holy sacrifice of the Mass look like? Well, that music should elevate the human voice. The human voice is the instrument that God has given all of us. And the church specifically says that Gregorian chant is the standard for that. If you listen to chant, whether that's from many different styles, there's plain song and English style 4-part harmony chant, which is the English style chant that you might hear at one of our masses. You might hear a different style of chant at a Tridentine Latin Mass or an Eastern Rite Mass. But these are all chant. They're simple melodies that are easy to pick up, that are easy to sing, that people can follow along with and learn as they sing and they communicate ideas. So music should be simple and chant like an expression. That's the church's guidance. What about instrumentation? Well, in some Catholic churches, you will not have any instruments. In our church, the Roman Rite, particularly the Mass of Divine Worship with the English Patrimony, the instrument that is ideal is the pipe organ. Now, why is the pipe organ ideal? Because the pipe organ is designed and has evolved over time to emulate the human voice. The pipe organ is designed to accompany the human voice. So the church tells us, and the language the church uses, is that the organ should be given pride of place within the liturgy. So you can use other instruments, but the pipe organ should be the standard. The voice should be the standard. Gregorian chant should be the standard. So you really shouldn't have music that has very complicated rhythms that are hard to follow along. This really isn't the time for a rock concert. This really isn't the time, perhaps, for orchestra. This is the time to what elevates the human voice, what elevates the ability of the congregation and everyone there to praise God through song. And that's a lot more difficult when you have instruments besides the pipe organ. I'm a guitarist myself. I play pretty much anything with strings. And I love playing rock music. But I'll tell you, rock music's not always the easiest to sing at Mass, and it doesn't always have the most appropriate themes for Mass. So a big question a lot of times we get is, why don't you use guitars? It's a big debate in the Catholic Church right now, and I think guitar has really become a symbol of a divide between contemporary and traditional music. I personally don't think that should be the case. I think that we have 2,000 years of liturgical music tradition. Some of it is better than others, but in general, all of it is written for the glory of God. But when you think about a Mass with a guitar and other instruments, a guitar doesn't really carry the melody and support the voice as well. You need other instruments to help it, such as woodwind or brass or string instruments like the violin that play the melody. If there's a guitar at Mass, it really should be only used if you don't have an organist, or if you have an organist that needs rhythm to help support them. So again, like I've said in previous videos, the human voice is paramount, and the organ should be the pride of place, given the pride of place to support the human voice. Other instruments can be used to help the organ and to add things to it, but in general, we don't use guitar at Mass simply because we don't need it with the pipe organ. And that's not to say that other Masses that do use guitar and do use rock band are bad or invalid. That's just a different style of liturgy that you won't find in the ordinary.